In this edition of INN CEO Talks, I'm joined by David Crook of Charger Metals. And we're talking about Australian lithium at the company's 3 projects, but we're also going to be talking about the company's nickel platinum group elements discovery. David, welcome.
Thank you very much for having me.
I know an awful lot of your focus is on lithium, but why don't we start with nickel and then we'll transition over to lithium, which are all very important green energy metals.
That's a great idea. The Coates project is located just outside of Perth, which makes it a very convenient project to have. Some of your listeners may recall that Chalice discovered the Julimar nickel and platinum group element project in this area a little while ago. We were able to acquire some ground in that area and immediately build up a database of geochemistry and geophysics. And we're waiting on our final drilling permissions at the moment. So we're hoping to be drilling that in the next couple of weeks. But it's a very compelling platinum group element project driven by nickel, which are both very topical at the moment.
So what were your initial findings that made you say, yep, we want to put drills in the ground, we believe that there's something here?
There'd been an old vanadium mine of all things out there, so we knew that the rocks were the same kind of rocks that you get nickel in. And then another company that we were aware of had held the project previously, and we were able to get a number of their drill samples, which we assayed for nickel and platinum group elements. And we got a coincident anomaly right on the edge of the rocks that we considered to be good. So we then flew a helicopter survey, a survey called an EM survey, and followed that up with ground surveys of the similar style. The nickel rocks that we're chasing are conductive, and these EM surveys detect conductive rocks. So I suppose starting to join the dots, we've got good geochemistry in the soils, we've got conductive rocks, and the kind of rocks that we're looking for are conductive. So the next thing we've got to do is drill it.
How aggressive is your drilling program going to be? How many holes do you plan on putting in the ground?
We've got permission to do an initial 10 holes, and from that we should be able to tell whether the rocks and everything else is aligning well. And after that, it's a matter of just iterations of drilling going forward. But the company's in quite a good position. It's on private land. We've got a great relationship with the landowner, and we will just continue drilling. The company's well funded to be able to undertake this work with no problem at all.
So what's your hope with this site? Do you envision that it's something that you'll be able to vend in with a major, or is it something that you can foresee, working towards building it to a greater established resource before you even consider that?
My view is that we always have to have our eye on the mine. Otherwise, we're in the wrong business. So the short answer always is that if the project comes up well, if it stacks up in a digestible fashion for a company such as us, we should aspire to mine it. Out in this part of the world, I envisage that the mine would be an underground, quite a boutique style of mine. There are other land uses and there are some important biological areas out this way, so it would need to be environmentally very well managed, but it is quite likely that we would sell a concentrate to somebody else. Of course, that's one option, and other options, our business is all about options, and so another option is that if one of the other players in the area feels that they're further ahead of us and they can do something that's sensible with our project, well, come and speak to us. It's all about options, but my view is that we need to have an eye on being the primary producer.
Okay, so let's switch now to lithium, which is becoming a very, very hot commodity, and increasingly so globally. The demand for it is exceptional, and you have 2 projects where you're focusing on lithium. Tell me about them.
Okay, we've got 2 projects exactly as you say. One is in the Northern Territory, again, very well located just outside of Darwin. And interestingly, it's entirely surrounded by Core Lithium. Core Lithium, again, are $1 billion company, and they are in the throes of developing these. They've started open pit mining, and they're building a plant up there at the moment. So if you were to ask me the same question, would we, presuming we have some success, would we look to build a plant? Well, there'd be less reason to build a plant. You can never forecast the future, but with core lithium entirely surrounding us and building a plant, I think in that instance, we would be very keen to do a transaction that didn't involve us, a big capital thing. Where the project is at the moment, again, we inherited quite a good database of tantalum explorers from about 10 or 12 years ago, and we were able to complement that with modern geochemistry. I'm very much a fan of modern multi-element geochemistry. It's amazing what drops out when you generate these really good modern data sets. And we've found a couple of big pegmatites there that are, they have strong lithium geochemistry. We can map them. And once again, it's a matter of working through the statutory processes. Up there, it's called an MMP, a mine management plan. And that involves flora and fauna studies, as well as integration with Aboriginal heritage. We're well into that. We're into the dry season now. We were up there 2 weeks ago. The cane grass is still pretty long, but we can get around. That's getting knocked down more and more at the moment. And as soon as the ground is right, again, we've got a reasonable relationship with the landholders, and we want to start drilling. So that one there is quite advanced. The other one at Lake Johnson is almost the other end of the spectrum. A couple of years ago, a geologist that was allied with us went out there and actually discovered spodumene sticking out of the ground in quite a large swarm of pegmatites. It's taken a while for us to wrap our head around that and just get ourselves organised, but we're progressively going through, again, the conservation management plan process, which is quite in depth here in Western Australia these days. But, like I said, there's spodumene sticking out of the ground over a strike length of about 400, 500 metres. There's soil geochemistry that shows that it could well be extending underground. And it's just a matter of drilling these things. So on all three fronts, I suppose the summary of the last 11 months since we listed is that let's just go through, update using modern geochemistry and modern geophysics, do our targeting properly, and all three projects have delivered projects that are quite enviable and drill ready.
So earlier you mentioned that you're well funded. So for investors, they would be saying, okay, you got good projects, you're in good shape. However, right now, what's the most important message that you want them to take away from this interview?
I think that we're really at a tipping point in the value of the company. We acquired the projects of a company called Lithium Australia, and Lithium Australia was very much an early mover in the lithium space. However, Lithium Australia has morphed into a technology company. They're looking at doing extraction, and they're looking at doing cathode manufacture. So we and they got together, and we floated Charger in July last year with the view of taking these well-founded, well-considered exploration projects through to the next level. And I think the results that we've got to date are, they're commendable. It shows the quality of the projects that were put together and the capability of the people that did that. So each of the projects have been worked up to the point where they're drill ready. Each of them are in very, very good locations. So Bino, as I said, is surrounded by Core Lithium, which is a multi-billion-dollar company. The Lake Johnson lithium project is very close to the Covalent lithium project, which again is a multi-billion-dollar joint venture. They're in construction at the moment. And of course, our Coates project, just being out of town, is right up against the Chalice Julimar project, and Chalice is the $3 billion company. So we're in very good areas. We've got good targets in the commodities that you should be finding with it. Sometimes you go and find something entirely random. And our market capitalisation is sitting at about, $20 million now. So from a leverage point of view, I don't know of another company that would give investors the opportunity to, to just have the potential, or three horses in the race for a major uptick in value of the company.
It's a wonderful position to be in. And
It's a pretty good position.
yeah, that's a great story to be able to share with investors, and I'm sure many will be watching. And with the fact that you've got sort of drill-ready projects, I'm hoping that we can have you come back in a couple months and give us some results that you are anticipating.
I would like that very much indeed.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you as well.